And we'll have to redo it, I guess, when for the second class.
No, we'll use the same. I mean, we can do the same thing. Essentially, turn it off on Pummy's and then restart it on Pummy's phone.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you.
That's
okay.
mine over there.
Is that yours? Okay.
But do you have it on yours?
Yeah. No.
Sure.
Let's see what time it is. 8:31. Okay. So let us do the. We'll just do the short prayer, and then we will get started, and I'll explain to you what all that happened. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukarastvandakaro Vai Rukarastvanivartakaha Andhakara Nirodhitvat Gururityabhidhiyate Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Anyway, we had configuration problems using the Samsung laptop. So I'm happy that Chandra actually walked me through getting the application done on my wife Pami's iPhone, which Chandra was saying that the Apple connection is a lot better. And so after several tries, we were able to use the iPhone, but that had to be reconfigured as well because we didn't have the app on her. So all that took time. And what it means is that I was hoping to do meditation today, and we will not be able to do it, but at least I think we have quite a bit of time left over to take the class. So let's start with that. So in this chapter 4, Alartha Shanti Prakaranam, we had given a kind of an outline at the beginning when we started the chapter. This outline was provided by Swami Paramarthanandaji. I'm really following his outline for this chapter. So what he had said was that Gaudapada, in writing this Karika, had sectioned off the chapter into 3 parts. The first part was to determine and ascertain and prove that there is no real creation anywhere. And this is why this is such an advanced text, because the very first question that everybody has is, how can you say that? Because things are being created every day. And in fact, we can postulate that the same phenomena that we use for our creation every day, we create food, we prepare food. You assemble vegetables and dal and rice and so on and so forth, and you create a meal. That's a creation. So how can you say there is no creation? And in fact, the same principle, same phenomena can be used to postulate that the whole world must have been created. So as we have seen already, we have already revisited all this, that it appears to be created, but in fact it is really an appearance. And so the four principles that are to be kept in our mind, and we will do that today itself, Swami Paramarthananda had said, was that the existence of the world is to be negated. The origination of the world is to be negated. The appearance of the world is to be accepted. And the appearance due to ignorance is to be accepted. These are the four principles. Okay? And I think we should remember that. So part of those four principles is the number 2, that really speaking, there is no origination. There is no creation. And, and so I think we will go into this in more detail in a minute. But let us start on so the 3 sections, to complete the 3 sections that I started with, is that the first section looks into the fact that there cannot be a real creation. It may look like a creation, but in fact it isn't. And this has to be appreciated by considerable study, considerable meditation, our maturation of the mind after the spiritual maturation. We have to mature spiritually, and all the time accepting the authority of the Shastra. In other words, do not start questioning and saying, how can this be? There must be a creation, etc. This is what everybody does. But I think we have to keep our eye on the final goal which the Shastra gives us, that really your moksha consists of a complete understanding that there is no existence but an appearance. And this is the fundamental part of it. So this is the first section of the 4th chapter, which is a considerable set of arguments that negate the origination. Then the second section of the 4th chapter, which we have already started and we are going to continue today, is to continue to put some thought into the nature of dreams in our life. So the dream is a very important it's a very important signal. This is what is called a lingam. So I will just go into a interesting story that Swami Maheshanandji was given to illustrate this point. This is a very interesting point. Important point, really. Whenever I say something interesting, it is not just casual. It means something means a lot. So he was giving an example of a person who had lost his cow. And this is very common in India, where cow is one of the biggest in the villages, other than your fields. The most important asset that you have is a cow. And people bring it up, and then the cow, of course, is one of the most beautiful, useful animals that Lord has created for us. It's just absolutely no question about that. It's like really a mother. Her nature, her usefulness, it's like a mother. And so the cow is a very useful thing. So this guy wakes up in the morning and he finds that his cow is missing. So he starts to look for it and he cannot find anywhere. So he goes to the local police station or whatever, they have some village police person, and said, "Sir, I have lost my cow." And so the police said, "Okay, let me come and look at it." So he comes to his home. Luckily, those were rainy days. And what happens is that on the rainy days, there's a lot of mud on the street. And so the policeman said, "Aha! I think I have found your cow." So the owner of the cow says, "I don't see the cow. Where is it? I don't understand. What are you talking about?" He says, "It is as good as done." So the owner still was very confused, and he says, I have no idea what you're talking about. "What do you mean by it's as good as found?" He says, "You are very lucky. If it had been in summertime, it would have been much more difficult to find. All we have to do is to find the hoof marks in the mud. And I can already see the direction, and you please come with me and follow me, and we are going to find the cow for you. I guarantee it. Absolutely." So, Swami Maheshananji was pointing out that if you go back to Shastra and our life, the fact of the matter is that if you analyze our lives, what you find is that we are trying to find something. We're going to find something. We're going to talk a little bit more about this. Hopefully this connection problem will be okay by the time the Drikdishya Viveka class starts, because that's a central theme of my class today on the Drikdishya. That really speaking, our life is characterized by a sense of search. We can all relate to it because we are looking for unconditional happiness where I don't have to do anything. This is what we are looking for. It's like losing a cow. And all my life I am just busy searching for this very elusive experience, if you can call it an experience, which it isn't, where I am really trying to find unconditional happiness. And I would just on the passing characterize, really speaking, I am looking for Ishvara. And as such, I am looking for myself, because the unconditional happiness, which is a characteristic of Ishvara, Paramatma, So this is what is called Bhagavan, the one that has all the 6 bhagas, Aishwaryam, and all those kinds of bhagas, and means that I am the total boss. I don't need to work. I am just happy with myself. This is the characteristic of Ishvara. And that happens to be the characteristic of you and I, the very self, the Jivatma. This is what I'm looking for. Anyway, going back to the story and completing it. So we are looking for something all of our life. So Swami Maheshananji pointed out, it's very interesting. One can ask, how is it that I can't find it? This is a very interesting thing, that really speaking, if my nature is that of Bhagavan, I have all the 6 bhagas. I have the bhagas in a relative measure. The relative measure is not enough. I needed to have it in an absolute measure. Then I should really look for it. So Swamiji says, how is it that you cannot find it? He says, the reason you cannot find it, because you do not know how to look, where to look and how to look. So the policeman, who must have really gone through this kind of a situation many times, very experienced at that. So the moment he came there and he looked at the hoof marks and said, aha, found it. So Swamiji says that really speaking, these are the important things where how to find it is very important. Now, the hoof marks are not the cow. They are a way to find the cow. But you cannot find the cow until you get the method of finding the cow. This is important. We don't know the method. This is the problem. We are lost, we are worried, where is my cow, where is my cow, but we don't know. If the home, and from that point on, if the cow gets lost, he knows exactly what he has to do. Hopefully it's in the rainy season. So the hoof marks are called in Shastra lingam. This is an important word. Lingam means lingyate anena iti lingam, by which something is known, is called lingam. And just to complete this whole thing, I just wanted to bring it up. I'll do this in all the classes. This is a very important thing. Just to complete it, Shiva lingam. So in the temples, you have the Vigraha of Shiva or Dakshinamurti, and in front of it there is always a Shiva lingam, a formless piece of stone where Nandi is looking at it, and this is called Shiva lingam. And the priests of the temple would request you to first do the prayers to the Shiva lingam before you do the prayers to the Vigraha of the Shiva. Why is that? The reason is the same as losing a cow. You have to understand how to look. And if you don't know how to look, so the prayer to the Shivalingam is to say, O Ishvara, may I understand where to look for you. May I understand it. It is praptasya prapti. And we are searching all over without really understanding where it is. It's right here. We don't understand it. It's a separate thing. Just to complete this story. So the Shivalingam is very important. Why? Because if you don't, the policeman knew exactly how to find the cow. What a beautiful story. What a beautiful, very important story. Now to connect it to the Karika. So the second section of the Karika is the first section we've already talked about, which is that there is no creation, right? Done with. Not unconnected, but at least that's the start. The second section is to spend more time discussing the dream. And why is that? Shivalingam. How? What do you mean dream has to do with Shivalingam? It is said in our Shastra that our problem in life is not finding the Sakshi that I am. That becomes, once it is pointed out after a little bit of thinking, it becomes easy. I am the Sakshi, unchanging, unconnected, and so on. The main issue we have in our life is to ascertain that my experiences of the world that I am undergoing is mithya. This is the issue. I cannot find it. I cannot find myself, the unconditional joy that I'm looking for, until I ascertain the mithyatvam of the world. And I cannot ascertain the mithyatvam of the world. It is very difficult. Only a very advanced person who has done all this analysis in the previous life, Ramana Maharshi is the usual example we give, is able to see the mithyatvam. But otherwise we keep on saying, scratching our head and saying, I don't know. I still get stomach aches and headaches and coronavirus and so on. It looks very real to me. We cannot accept it. So therefore, to connect to the Karika, Shastra says your best lingam is to take the example of your dream. There is no better lingam. And I have already said this, I think, several times. I hope I'm not repeating myself. The creation, if I can call it a creation, the creation of the dream status of all beings is specifically dropping the hints by Ishvara, find me by looking at the dream. There's no other reason for having a dream. I mean, if you look at it, it's a very interesting thing that we go through this cycle of having Jagrat Avastha, then Swapna Avastha, then Sushupti Avastha. 24 hours this goes on. And so it's not like you dream only once in your life and you miss it. These Ishvara is giving you the hints over and over again. And it's a stepping stone in the sense that you cannot look at the Jagrat Avastha as mithya until you analyze the dream fully. And this is what is going to be done in the second section. And then compare the two. Once you are sure about the dream, then you apply it to the Jagrata Avastha and say these two are all exactly the same. Only then you have a chance that you will turn your head you'll become antarmukhi instead of bahirmukhi. That you will say, oh my God, I cannot believe it, I couldn't find it. So this is the issue. So this is why the Mandukya Upanishad is so advanced, so beautiful, so precise, because it talks about the mithyatvam of the three states of our experience. Even the Sushupti Avastha is not the real one. It is getting close to the real one, very close, but not really close. We're studying this in the happiness class on Tuesday nights, and I don't know whether we've already talked about this or not, but Swami Maheshananji and of course not Swami Maheshananji but Swami Vidyaranya has explained this so well, that in the dream, in the Sushupti Avastha, you nearly touch the Brahmananda that you are. But you do not become the Brahmananda. You only touch it. How do you touch it? Beautiful example was given. The example is that suppose you have a metal vessel which is sitting on the room somewhere at a room temperature. If you touch the metal, then it will have the same room temperature. Now you pour water into the vessel. Water by nature is cooler than the room temperature, because one of the characteristics of water is that it is essentially very cool. Not freezing, that you have to do something to freeze it, but it is cool. Just like fire is hot, the water is cool. Now if you put the water into the vessel, Swami Vidyaranya says, if you touch the metal vessel, you will find that your hand is cooling. What does it mean? It means you have not touched the water, but you have touched a metallic surface which is non-insulating, and the coolness comes to you by the touch of the metallic vessel. Similarly, in the deep sleep state, it is not as though we are going to become Brahmananda, but the sleep state acts as a metallic vessel that keeps us very close to Brahmananda. Beautiful. So anyway, Mandukya Upanishad says that, listen, you should see that you have three states of experiences, and you are none of them. You are in fact Turiya. But how do I even entertain this idea that I am Turiya and I am not one of them? Because it's very obvious that I feel I am a Jiva. That's what I am. And I am a doer, I am an enjoyer, and so on and so forth. In fact, I was thinking the meditation today, which we could not do because of all the connection problems, we are going to meditate on the picture is still on. I don't know. We cannot ascertain the mithyatvam of our Jagrata Avastha. And the best way to look at the mithyatvam is to study the characteristics of the dream and the waking state, compare them, keep looking at it. This is the lingam. Unless I learn the right method of looking for Ishvara, I will never find it. So the second section is all about revisiting. Now this was already taken up in the second chapter in the Vaithatya Prakaranam. So it's not as though it's a brand new thing. But Paunaf Punyena Shravanam Kuryat. That this kind of a Shravanam is not just done once and be forgotten. One has to really continue to look at it until the results come. The results are that I am free. Until then, you have to keep looking at it again and again and again, because there is nothing else that you need to do. This is all that you need to do. So therefore, the second section is all about a renewed emphasis on the mithyatvam of this dream state, and thereby a stepping stone on the mithyatvam of the waking state. So this is a gradual, you have to fully understand the dream state first and then start to apply it. It's like a stepping stone. It is this kind of a methodology is given all over, even in the Taittiriya. So you first do Annamaya Kosha, then you do Pranamaya, etc., etc. It's one step at a time. And the very famous example that a new moon is very subtle, very difficult to see casually. It doesn't jump at you. It's so beautiful. It's just a sliver of light. And suppose there is a moon behind a tree as you're sitting outside, and there is a person that saw it, and he's pointing it out to someone else and saying, "Oh, beautiful new moon, look at it." And the other person says, "Where? I don't see it." Then there is a methodology where you say, "Okay, here's the main trunk. You see that?" He says, "Yes." You see the left branch? There are two branches, the lower of the left branch? Yes. Keep going. Keep going. Then you see a smaller right branch from there. Do you see that? He says, "Yes." Ah, there is the moon. So similarly here also, first we have to see the mithyatvam of the dream. And from there, I have to translate that into the mithyatvam of the Jagrata Avastha. So this is the methodology that Karika uses and Mandukya uses. Beautiful, very important one. Here in the discussion of, I was reading this by Swami Paramarthananda. This is a little bit farther down on verse number 39, but I will read that section because it is relevant. So I'm just going to read what Swami Paramarthananda has written. So, going back to the 4 points that we had said, that the world, the existence of the world is negated, is not accepted. The origination of the world is not accepted. The appearance of the world is accepted. And the mithyatvam of the world is accepted. Because mithyatvam means that it is, the appearance is due to ignorance rather than any reality. So here, in discussing this, Swami Paramarthananda makes a very good, beautiful point. I'm just going to read it. He says, "The existence and origination of the dream world are not acceptable, and the appearance and experience of the dream are acceptable." This is what we've been saying. Both are due to the Nidra Shakti, which is the power of the sleep. So the Nidra Shakti is not an ordinary Shakti. It is really a outsourcing of the Maya Shakti. And so the Nidra Shakti is an interesting, very powerful, it's a power. Shakti means it's a power. And what it means is that it has both avarana and vikshepa. First it hides and it creates an alternate reality. Both of them are originating from Nidra Shakti. So because of that, which would be called ignorance. This is the thesis of Gaudapadacharya throughout the Mandukya Karika. And then Swamiji says, Swami Pramarthananda says, this is not a mere intellectual debate or a philosophical discussion, because the consequences of this thesis are very important. It is important to understand why Gaudapada is so insistent. Once you accept the origination of the world, then you have to accept the world as Jagat, your own existence as an individual jiva, and that the creator of both is Ishvara. Thus, the moment we accept a creation, we have inadvertently landed in the triangular format, which leads to God dependence and handling problems in worldly transactions. However, facing problems in experiences of life is due to karma and not God. God does not have control over our karmas, but only manages our karma phala. In the triangular format, karma is the controlling factor that governs our experience, and God's role is to give the results of the karma. So the remaining in the triangular format does not solve the fundamental problem of life. Accepting of creation is falling us into the trap of the triangular format. So we have to question the very Srishti itself. Then alone we can go from the triangular format to the binary format. Beautiful. Very nicely done, Swamiji. Really connecting it to what this is all about. And so we should understand, and we may not understand yet, but we should at least accept the wisdom of this path. You know, it is exactly like, I keep going back to that, the guy who had lost the cow. So in that case, the policeman, the smile on the face of the policeman is the authority of the Shruti. This guy is puzzled, saying, I don't understand why you're so confident. And the policeman says, trust me. So similarly, the Shastra also has that smile which says, trust me. Trust me. And so this is what is called prasanna gambhiryam. Prasanna gambhiryam means that this is a seriousness, yes, seriousness because the problem of life has been solved, and a smile on the face which says, trust me. If you just follow me, we'll find it. So in that sense, we should see that the smile on the face of the policeman, kind of like a grin. He says, this guy is in bad shape. He's worried about his livelihood. He's lost his cow and all that. Similarly, our problems in life are considerable. But the Shastra says, just trust me. So this is the value of the Shruti. And we have to really follow the logic of it. So like the policeman has a logic. Logic says that if you have mud on the streets and you have this heavy animal with 4 feet, it is not that difficult to trace it, my friend. Done deal. Similarly here also Shruti says, listen, do not get into the trap of discussing where is creation, when did I begin? You never began. Even your own existence is borrowed from the Sakshi. You yourself are an appearance. The Jiva is an appearance. There's no factor to it. And so you haven't lost it. We'll find it. But trust me. This is the way to do it. And the trust factor comes in by saying the logic. The logic says that if you go into the trap of looking at when it was created and how, then the trap is, as Swami Paramarthananda pointed out. That's why I really like his commentary on this triangular format. The triangular format is that I am definitely a jiva and I'm in trouble and I need the help of Ishvara. Every time I need something, I run to it and says, what's happening here? Why can't you fix the coronavirus? And so this kind of a dependence will always be there, and it's stemming from a misplaced understanding of who you are. Swami Dayanand had given this very interesting example. He said that there was a man who, after a lot of prayers, invoked Shiva. And Shiva said, okay, my son, you've been asking me to come. What do you want? He says, I understand that you can give anything, isn't it? So Shiva says, that's correct. I am the overall, I'm Ishvara, and I can give you anything. So he says, okay, what is it that you want? He says, can you give me a head on my shoulder? And Ishvara says, Swami Dayanand Ji, he used to act on this thing out. If he made everybody laugh, he says, Ishvara started saying, oh my God, how come nobody has ever asked me this question before? He says, I might as well tell him. He says, I'm sorry, I cannot give you a head on your shoulder. So the person said, what kind of an Ishvara are you? Didn't you tell me you can do anything? And I just have a very simple thing that I wanted to ask you, and you are saying no. What kind of an Ishvara are you? So Ishvara said, my friend, if you did not have a head on your shoulder, then I could have given it to you, but you already have it. All you have to do is to understand. I don't know why you're even asking the question. So similarly is the point here where I say, listen, I want freedom. Can you give me freedom? So he says, nope, I cannot give you freedom. I cannot do that. Why not? You're supposed to be a all-knowing, all-powerful, Sarvashaktiman. How come you're not giving me freedom? He says, because you already have the freedom. All you have to see is just like you already have a head on your shoulder, and so you just have to, I cannot give you infinity. You're already infinite. You just have to understand it. study and look at it. This is a wrong question that I am. If you start with the assumption that I am not free, you'll never find freedom. You have to say that I am already free, but I just don't get it. That's okay. This is how the whole creation is made. The creation is all about appearances and reality. That's all. So that's the interesting situation. I'm kind of lost to see whether everything is going well. I'll probably do a little bit, maybe another 5 minutes or so, and then close the class and look at it to see if you are there. This is a very unusual situation, and I hope this gets resolved because I don't know. My wife has walked away with her iPhone. I don't see it, and I don't have the picture. So I'll have to go to the laptop and sign in to see. But anyway, let's continue on. So in our last class, we had done up to verse number 34. So continuing this analysis, and we may have to really do the bulk of this analysis next class, but the seeds of the understanding of again, what we are now discussing is to understand the similarity of dream state and waking state. Absolute similarity. The dissimilarities are very minor. The similarities are major. This is what we have to understand. And we don't even start to understand because we reject it. We find that the dream is gone, it's not important. What is important is my life. This is why don't you talk about my life? Why do you keep talking about the dream? It's exactly like that example of the losing a cow. He says, when start looking, I am also looking. Please help me. Let's look at who are the thieves in this village. And the policeman says there are too many. All right, let's start to narrow them down. The policeman says, follow me. Done deal. So similarly here also, we don't understand why are we talking about the dream when in fact I should be talking about my real life. As though dream is not real. And the Shastra says, no. I cannot tell you about discussing your real life. You solve that through your own coronavirus and get your vaccines done and shelter in place. All that this is not my job. My job is to say that this is really not a problem. You are free from it already. And if you want to follow me, then please understand the mithyatvam of the Jagrata Avastha vis-a-vis the mithyatvam of the dream. And so therefore, let us see the logic. There the logic was very simple because once there is a mud, then the hoof marks will take you. Here the logic is a little bit more complex, but it is still logic that works. And so follow this logic. And so this logic is the one where this section of the Mandukya is now going to get into. And so I think we might as well do it next week instead of doing it partially for a few minutes. So we will wind down the class and see what is going on. And I may need some more time to get prepared for the next class. So I will stop the class. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Kshobarahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Okay. All right, so it is going on. That's good. Okay. Okay, less number of people watching. Some people may have left because they couldn't find it. That's very understandable. So question from Tanuja Singh. Can you please repeat the trap of the triangular format? So Tanuja, this is explained by Swami Paramarthananda best in the Ashtavakra Gita, which he is teaching at the moment, which we has finished teaching. A lot of people are studying it. So just very briefly, I won't spend a lot of time on this because it's a huge topic. What it is that the format of my life where I see myself as a limited being and I am confronting an unlimited world, and I find that Ishvara that has created both of us is my refuge. And so I run to Ishvara whenever I have a problem and say, why are you doing this? Please take care of me, protect me. You asked me to take refuge to you, I am doing it. People don't even have to do that. They can just try to fight with the world without the help of Ishvara. But in this triangular format, there is in fact the 3 points, which is the Jiva, the world, and Ishvara. And every time I have a problem, I run to Ishvara for help. This is the triangular format. So with the study of Vedanta, Ishvara says, listen, it is okay for you in the beginning to run to me for refuge. That's very understandable. But let me teach you that you are not a limited being. You and I are one and the same. And if you understand that, you will go from a triangular format to a binary format to a non-dual format. So the binary format is that there is only you the Atma and not you, which is Anatma. So initially this is the binary format. So even Ishvara becomes the not you, because I don't know where Ishvara is. So naturally it's not you. So you reduce the triangular format into a binary format. Then from there, of course, you don't stay there. You're not supposed to stay there. But you move on to the next format where you say that there are not two, there's only one. Because the other one is nothing but a reflection of the real one. So when you're looking at the mirror, you don't have two people. You have one plus a copy. And that's all. And so that is the format that we were talking about. Shantikumar says, had we had another avastha beyond Jagrat, the other side of the dream state, and move into that state, we probably realize the mithyatvam of the Jagrat avastha. Yeah, so this is correct. That is how we, this is necessary, and this is an important step that we have to take, and we are studying just to do that, because until you can see that you are something even beyond the Jagrat avastha, you cannot see the mithyatvam of the Jagrat avastha, but you can sense it even while being in the Jagrat avastha. So the Jagrata, remember we were talking about the dissimilarities of waking state and the dream state. I said earlier that the similarities are major and the dissimilarities are minor. One of the dissimilarities, which is minor, is that in the dream state you have to completely finish it before you realize that it was a dream. In the waking state, you don't have to completely finish it. You can just see that it is a dream, like while you're still there. And the reason you're still there is because of the already prarabdha karma that has to take its place. The body has to fall down, all of that. But as a Jivan Mukta, you don't need for the body to fall down. You're already aware of the fact that I'm a Sakshi, completely separate from it. So in a way, that is really the state which is different from the Jagrata Avastha. Anyway, I was planning to get into all of that later, and we will. So you will get a more complete answer to your question, but it's a fair question. All right, so those are the only two questions that I see. And I see my head is cut off. Don't know how that happened, but anyway, we'll adjust the camera. Okay, with that, apologies for some of the problems in connection. I guess we'll have to look into aspects of it, because it's complex. There's software update, there's firmware update, all kinds of issues. So, Varun is there, good. A new student. So thank you, Varun, for your comments. Anyway, goodbye to you all until next week. Stay well. Om.